Well, new dramatic start. People to win a private investigator coffee mug. In the comment section on the side over there, say hi. Just say g'day. Say something like that and you'll go in the giveaway draw to win a private investigator coffee mug. So this week in episode 61 of Spy Curious, I'm Mike Evans from the Australian Security Academy, and we've got some really great stuff to pass on today. But first of all, before we start, let's have a look at some of the job vacancies that are available this week in Australia. Now, if you're looking for a job as a private investigator, you go to this Facebook page and ask to join it. You have to answer 2 questions, and I will join you in that Facebook page. We put up around about 30% of the available jobs that are there for you to see what you can do as a private, corporate or government investigator in Australia. So Renee has made a comment. She's going in our draw to win a coffee mug. Good on you, Renee. Great to hear from you. Good to see you back again. So let's have a look at the job vacancies. People, say hi in the comments and you'll go in the draw at 1:20 to win a coffee mug. Or if you don't, Renee will win one by herself. It's an automatic draw. It's a random one. It's great giveaway fun. So here's our first job. Melbourne Workplace Investigators, WorkLogic Proprietary Limited are looking for investigators in Melbourne. So they've got an immediate start for a casual role for an investigator down there in Melbourne. Thanks, Evan. You're in the draw to win a coffee mug. Great to hear from you, mate. Evan said hi over in the comment section, people. Just say g'day. Great to hear from someone down in South Australia. I got good news for South Australian investigators today, a little while later in the program. Don't miss it, Evan. It's a big one. And we've also had a Facebook user say hi. People, if you win that coffee mug, you have to PM me your physical postal address so I can send it to you. Yeah, we won't let Renee win by default. That's true. So everybody's got to say hi, so she can't. So that's our first job this week down in Melbourne for an investigator for workplace investigations. Now, they do all sorts of fun investigations, including code of conduct, behavioural investigations, dispute resolution, that sort of thing, racial discrimination, sexual harassment, those sorts of things. So look out. That's what you can do with that workplace down in Victoria. Now, demand is getting out of control in Victoria for private investigators. But here we have in Sydney, M&A Investigations, they're looking for factual investigators in Sydney. So great little opportunity for investigators with M&A Investigations. If you go to this Facebook page, you'll see M&A Investigations looking for investigators in Victoria, factual and surveillance, and they're looking for investigators in New South Wales, factual and surveillance, and they're looking for investigators in Queensland, factual and surveillance as well. So we've got another comment from Evan. He's saying, fantastic. He's looking forward to hearing that news about South Australia. Don't miss it. If you're a South Australian investigator, don't miss this show. This is really important for you. Okay, good day, Jamie. You might win that coffee mug, mate. Great to hear from you. So another job vacancy. Here we have General Insurance Investigators Australia-wide. Brookside Investigations are looking for investigators throughout Australia. Brookside, an established firm in Australia, and they're looking for investigators to conduct general insurance work. If you've never done general insurance work, it's the best fun you can have in investigations, people. General insurance is the one where you're most likely to encounter fraud, and that's why you became a licensed private investigator, because you didn't like people that committed fraud. So keep that in mind. General insurance investigations with Brookside, great opportunity to go and work for Brookside. So get in touch with them, get onto my Facebook page. You'll see that job vacancy. Here's the Facebook page. Ask to join it. You'll see those vacancies come up every week. Just did that one. Wake up, Michael. Corporate Investigator Services, CIS in Melbourne, are looking for factual investigators. Get in touch with them. This one's a great opportunity for a surveillance operative and mercantile agent on the Sunshine Coast. This is on the jobs page on Facebook. You can contact the employer directly. The employer is looking for a surveillance person, a person to do debt collection and repossessions and serve processes. So you're going to be serving documents on people. Great opportunity on the Sunshine Coast. And it's not a position where it's subcontract. He's going to be paying you a wage. So you get wage, superannuation, holidays, all that sort of thing. Great fun. As an investigator, apply for that job. So get on my Facebook page. That's where you're going to find that job. This one I advertised last week and I nearly went to sleep while I was doing it. It's Chartered Accountants Australia are looking for an investigator for their conduct and discipline of members of their association. Now that's going to be really relevant with South Australia soon when I come to that. But it's got nothing to do with accountants in that one. But in this role, you're going to be investigating for the Chartered Accountants in Australia if you don't go to sleep while you're doing it. Woolworths are after an e-commerce fraud officer. That's a really great corporate role. You don't need a private investigator license for that. You'll be working directly for Woolworths doing that job. So there's just some examples there this week of some job vacancies. Now, we always have government vacancies as well there. And here's one from down in Victoria. It's for the Department of Education and Training in Victoria, where you'll be doing investigations on their behalf. Get on the job site, my Facebook page, and you can see that. Quantum Corp are looking for investigators throughout Australia, nationwide. Get in touch with Quantum Corp. They're a great firm to work for. They've been established forever, and they are looking for licensed investigators. So jump in and apply to Quantum Corp. Don't miss out on that opportunity while it's there. The Department of Justice down in Tasmania, this is a government role. So when you see a government role, that means you don't need a license, you need a certificate for a government investigation for that role. So down in Tassie, that's a great opportunity for the Department of Justice. And I'm seeing more and more opportunities coming out of Tasmania in government investigation of late. So keep that in mind. So people, there are some amazing opportunities there in our Facebook page. SureFact, they're looking for investigators in New South Wales and Victoria. So get in touch with SureFact. They want to speak to you about you working for them, doing workers' compensation investigations and also doing CTP investigation, motor vehicle accident, that sort of thing. So SureFact are an established firm. I was at their office on the day they opened. I've never seen anything like it. My word, they were busy. So get in touch with SureFact if you're looking for work in New South Wales or Victoria. So you've seen it today, people. SureFact, Quantum Corp, M&A Investigations, Brookside. They want factual investigators. Kerrigan's advertised earlier this week for surveillance investigators in Victoria. M&A Investigations advertised earlier this week for surveillance investigators in Victoria. So that's two companies looking for surveillance people in Victoria. This one, M&A, and Kerrigan's down there in Victoria looking for surveillance people and factual investigators as well. So jump on this website. Do not miss out on the opportunity. If you have an Australian Security Academy qualification and a license, don't forget, people, holding that Australian Security Academy qualification means you're an automatic member of the Industry Association, AIRLAP. That's the Association of Investigation, Risk and Loss Adjusting Professionals. It's automatic. You are a member of an industry association. It's a super bonus just for being a graduate of the Australian Security Academy. Anywhere else, you've got to pay $140, $180 bucks a year to be a member of an industry association. This one, AIRLAP, is automatic when you receive your certificate. So what does that mean? That means you comply with the Code of Conduct for investigators, and we'll be showing you more about that. You'll be able to get continuous professional development points from July onwards just for watching this program on Friday afternoons, and we will send you out a little electronic certification statement of your attendance and completion of this continuous professional development that you can show people such as Allianz or QBE or Suncorp, who wants you to be a member of an industry association and wants you to do continuous professional development points. So that is an absolute super free bonus just for being an Australian Security Academy graduate student. You've made the right decision to join the Australian Security Academy. In the news today, people, there's been a real bad one up here on the Gold Coast. This is very common. A man has suffered a head injury after being struck by falling gym equipment on the Gold Coast this morning. That's Friday, the 14th of May, 2021. Paramedics were called to an address in Hope Island, and he's been transported to the Gold Coast. Now, that doesn't mean it was at a official gymnasium, might have been his own home gymnasium, who knows, but gym equipment tends to come loose. And when you investigate this, particularly if it's in a gymnasium, you get the video of it as the investigator. You've got to take away the CCTV. And these things are really tragic to watch. I've done a lot of those. And people with severe injuries, they get that lat pull down thing and pull it straight on top of the head as it comes loose, and it comes down really hard with that bar. So that's happened on the Gold Coast today. Might be more news on that if it's gym related next week, because that would be a public liability claim. If it's someone else's house, it could be a public liability claim, who knows. So that's happened on the Gold Coast this morning. Big news this week in South Australia. Now, this is what I was talking to you about, South Australians. There has been a tender put out by the South Australian government for loss adjusting and investigation services. So this is a tender. You go to this website where you can download the tender documents. If you can't keep up with me, just after this program, replay what you're watching now. Just hit replay and go to 10 minutes, 45 seconds, and it tells you where to go to. So this is the tender. And this is the information on the tender. Now, the information on the tender says the South Australian government want loss adjusters and or investigators to do investigation loss adjusting work for them. Now, that's pretty good. They've said that the value of the tender is $1 million approximately per year. Now, they can't predict exactly how much it could be. It could be $1,200,000 in a busy year, where there's a lot of accidents involving government facilities or government work or whatever in relation to what they're doing. It could be $900,000 another year when it's a little bit slower, but they're expecting it to average out around $1 million a year that they're going to be paying for your services. So what does that mean? It means you can add, if you're an organisation that wins part of this tender, maybe they have two organisations that they're going to award it to, you might earn $500,000 a year just from that tender working for the South Australian government. Now, they've specified loss adjusters and investigators, so they want you to apply. Now, if you're a loss adjuster, that's great. Go and apply for it. If you're not a loss adjuster, you can be an investigator. Now, some of the issues around tenders, this is where investigation agencies get most of their work, is from tenders. This one, they've got to have public liability insurance and professional indemnity insurance for $5 million in each case. So that's not hard. That's actually quite inexpensive. And if you have that, you've got to put that in your tender. If you don't have it, you've got to put that in your tender as well. So this is the advantage that you've got if you're an investigation agency going for it. ACLA are the biggest industry association in Australia for chartered loss adjusters. So if you want to be a chartered loss adjuster, you join ACLA and you rise up through the ranks working for them over the years. Now, in South Australia, 90% of the loss adjusting firms would be members of ACLA. If you go for this tender, I would anticipate in the second year, only 10% of the loss adjusters in South Australia will be able to still be in that contract. Now, think about what I just said. The members of ACLA in South Australia aren't aware that there's been a legal case taken out and filed and is currently going against ACLA. That means they've had a claim against their professional indemnity insurance. That's at item 11, number 2, highlighted there for you for $5 million. One claim against your professional indemnity insurance can mean your premium is going to rise outrageously the next year. So if that claim is even unsuccessful, the fact that they'd had a claim against it means a potential high premium rise. Now, of course, in ACLA, that's spread out amongst the members. But the members don't want to be tarred with that claim if they don't know about it. Now, ACLA has not made them aware of it. The Loss Adjusting Association currently has a legal action against it. Other organisations vying for this tender will have an advantage over ACLA members who are loss adjusters going for it. Now, remember, they're asking investigation firms too. Now, if you're an investigation firm where your tax is paid, your employee benefits are paid, and you haven't got an action against you, you're ahead of ACLA here. ACLA members, the loss adjusters, are unaware that their professional indemnity insurance may rise next year due to this legal action. A claim against professional indemnity people in a hard insurance market, and we're in a hard insurance market. If you don't know what that is, Google hard insurance market. It's really interesting for those of you that do insurance investigations. ACLA's defence in this claim has gone retroactively back to 2011. That means it's 2021 now, it's 10 years. That's magnified this action by 10 times. Something to think about. ACLA members denied in this South Australia tender application because of the professional indemnity insurance issues can take action against ACLA for the potential loss of potentially $2 million income from this tender. So their own members who are aggrieved by the fact that they've got an action against them that they're unaware of could potentially seek recovery from the association they are a member of. How many ACLA members taking action against ACLA for the potential loss of $2 million income would it take to make ACLA uninsurable, that's the industry association, and its loss adjusting members in a hard professional indemnity insurance market? If one loss adjusting firm in South Australia is knocked back because of issues with their professional indemnity insurance in the application for this tender, and one complains about it, that means they'll have 2 actions against them at ACLA in a year. 1 is serious. 2 is untenable. What would happen if 90% of the loss adjusters in South Australia got upset with their industry association over this, knowing that they're being denied a chance at $1 million income a year? That's pretty serious stuff. So the investigation agencies who aren't a member of the Loss Adjusting Association, ACLA, have a serious good go at winning this tender because of the issues with 90% of the members of ACLA in South Australia provided to them by their head office in Melbourne. So what if one of the loss adjusting firms in its tender who aren't a member of ACLA, and there are loss adjusting firms who aren't, there are other industry associations for loss adjusting, what if they put in their tender, as added value, we're not members of ACLA and we have no legal action filed against us? I reckon that'd be a pretty smart move. So that's an interesting thing happening down in South Australia that's going to lead to massive disappointment in the loss adjusting industry and massive opportunity in the investigation industry. Really something to think about there, people. Anybody else want to make a comment before I go to the drawer? I'll give you another 30 seconds to make a comment, and then I'm going to draw our winner of our coffee mug because I didn't upload Laura's question of the week, so it's our only chance to get a coffee mug today is put a comment in the comment section, people. And be prepared, you must be from Australia because I'm going to post it out to you, and be prepared to PM me your physical postal address so I can send you that coffee mug. So let's see if I can get my drawer happening. I'll bring it up. And I've got to start it. Here we go. Doesn't seem to want to work for me. This is great. Oh, I love embarrassing myself on live. Okay, doesn't seem to want to work for me. Looks like I'll give everybody that said up until 1910 in this video coffee mug. So I'm going to post you all out a coffee mug for commenting anyway. My drawer's not working, so I'll try and fix that, have it working next week. Gee, I love embarrassing myself on this. It's fun. All right, some of the other issues from over the week. Remember in Queensland last week, the CCC came out and said police are actually accessing the database for various reasons. So extending on that, the Queensland Corruption Watchdog has urged public servants not to access citizens' private databases, warning it could lead to disastrous consequences for victims of horrendous crime, including domestic violence. Crime and Corruption Chair Alan McPherson delivered the stern message to all public servants last week. So, in terms of that, basically, great comment. So basically, don't ever be tempted to get a mate or a relative, if you're in Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales or anywhere, to access a database. This guy did. He got his brother-in-law and his sister to access a database. They were police officers. He got them to access a database on his behalf. They are no longer police officers. They've both lost their jobs, and he lost his licence for quite a while as a result of it. So be very careful about that. That's a really serious warning from the Queensland Criminal Conduct Commission. One of the things we spoke about last week was taking statements on the spot. Now, your role as an investigator is to go out and speak to the witnesses and take your statements on the spot. That means typed, read, checked, printed out and signed on the spot. Now, that's workers' compensation. Some investigations have to be recorded. CTP liability investigations and general insurance investigations in the matter of stolen motor vehicles, arsons, home burglaries are going to be recorded. So you'll take that recording back with you, have it transcribed, and then take it back to the witness to be checked and signed. But when you do the recording, you do the full recording at the first time. You don't ask a series of questions, go home and make a draft statement. Now, I told you last week that you could get 50 penalty units in New South Wales for doing that and getting it wrong, even accidentally. And 50 penalty units is going to add up to $5,500. So that's really important. Now, you can also go or have both $5,500 and a year in jail if you don't take your statements on the spot. So I want to show you what it's going to look like and how embarrassing it's going to be if you could actually get to court on something you stuffed up that badly. Now, it won't go to court because you'll lose your job before you even get there. That's my guarantee. That's what will happen, right? It won't go to court. But if it did and it just slipped through, this is how embarrassing it's going to look. Witness, did you take this statement? Yes. Is it a statement of fact or a statement of opinion? Fact. What is the first rule of statement preparation? I don't know. I don't know is not an answer. Not good enough. Is this Bob's statement or Mary's statement? Mary's statement. Not good enough. Who taught you to take statements like that? I don't know. Not good enough. What's this about a truck's flat tyre in Bob's statement? No, that should be in Jeff's statement. That's correct. It should be in Mary's statement. Not good enough. Whose statement is it, witness? Bob's statement, I took it back and got him to sign it. Mary's statement, I took it back to her and got her to sign it. No, not good enough. I object. You can't object, witness. Not good enough. It's Bob's statement. And I asked him a series of questions. I made notes. Not good enough. I thanked him. I drove back to my home office and I compiled the statement at home that night. Do you agree we're here on a serious matter? 3. Is it Bob's statement or Mary's statement? I don't know. Not anywhere near good enough. And devoid of facts and mixed up with another statement from another person. Is it Mary's statement or is it Bob's statement? Please answer the question, yes or no. Witness. No. Not good enough. And they are the words that will come back to haunt you if you ever appear in a tribunal or a court and you did not take your witness statement on the spot. You will hear the words, not good enough. Like you just heard it there 16 times. It will haunt you for the rest of your career that you were not good enough in relation to your investigation by doing it that way. So that's really important. Bit of a downer, that one, where if you don't do it right, you've got to do it properly. Okay, that's the expectation of the client who's paying you $45 an hour, $65 an hour, whatever it is, to go and do it for them. They want professionalism. They don't want half-assed. They don't want shortcuts. So you do it professionally. Just had a question come through. What sort of things do the South Australian government want you to investigate? I said, look. So what does a loss adjuster do in South Australia for the government? Here is a typical example. Over at the Woomera Rocket Base, we have a bored Chinese student on work experience who gets confused between the lunch button and the launch button. The missile flies off, heading off into a direction unknown, and continues on its journey until it lands square in the middle of the South Island of New Zealand. The loss adjuster travels to New Zealand, he negotiates with the locals, assesses the damage, and negotiates a settlement in relation to their claim. That's what the South Australian Government loss adjuster will be doing in a typical scenario. Well, there you go. That might be a bit of an exaggerating example. I don't think there's a lot of Chinese students on work experience at Australian Government Woomera Rocket Base, but it's something that, who knows, could happen, and that's what an investigator, a loss adjuster's got to go and investigate. Or an investigator. So this is open to investigators and loss adjusters. So check it out, people. There's an opportunity there to win $1 million worth of income off the South Australian Government each year, unless you've got issues with your professional indemnity insurance through no fault of your own that have emanated from the top level of your industry association. That's pretty crap. So I've got a road test for us this week. It's coming up to almost finished now because we're nearly up to our 30 minutes. This is a great little website for private investigators who need to establish what number they were just called from or who belongs to this number. Now, it won't work on a burner phone, okay? That hasn't got anyone assigned to it. But let's have a look at this website. It's a beauty. I use it all. This is a great little website for private investigators. It's called whosknow.com. Now, basically, at this website, you can type in a mobile phone number, and if it's identifiable, and it's not a burner that hasn't been registered to a name, basically, you can find out who's been calling you or confirm
who might be on the other end. So how does it work? You go down to the part where you enter your phone number in between all the ads. So let's put my phone number in as the aeroplane flies over me and makes it almost impossible to hear. So the number I've typed in is my phone number. So I go over to the right hand side and I click search, and it's doing its searching, doing its thing like it does. And there it is. It says that phone number is the phone number of Michael Evans. So use it in your OSINT activities or your subject location activities. whosknow.com. Works all around the world, that one. A great little tool for private investigators.
Had a question there in my scenario, which was completely made up and exaggerated just to keep it entertaining and not drag through the show, which has got to be over 38 seconds ago. Does the loss adjuster or the investigator who goes and investigates our missile that's landed in some mountain somewhere in the middle of the South Island of New Zealand have jurisdiction there? Well, people, this loss adjuster represents the organisation's insurance company that allowed the launch button and the lunch button designer to put them together and cause the confusion. It's a civil matter. So it's not a criminal matter. So the loss adjuster representing the insurer of the Woomera rocket base will fly coach over to New Zealand, stay in meagre accommodation to keep the expenses down, and we'll talk to anybody whose cows might have been disturbed by the dud missile landing in a paddock nearby, or whose footy field might have had a big hole in it because this missile landed there and it needed repairs, and that they're going to go and find out how much it costs, what they're up for. So they can quantify that claim and then pay it. So that's how it works. It won't come down to a criminal jurisdictional issue. It's a civil matter, and they have the right to go and speak to the witnesses, find out exactly how much damage was done. Okay, send in a report to the insurer because the insurer wants to know how much they're up for. And that's exactly the same as with a disaster like a bushfire or a flood or something like that. Now, in New Zealand, it's a small country, and when they have earthquakes over there, the Earthquake Commission has to get loss adjusters from Australia to go over there and help them with all the claims that come in from that. So there is damage to lots of different houses on lots of different scales in lots of different areas. So those loss adjusters go to New Zealand from Australia and help them. They also go from Canada and England as well. Here in Australia, just so you know, when we have a massive scale flooding or a massive scale bushfires, it could take up to a year and a half, 2 years today, and that's pretty quick, to settle all the claims. Now, when they do it, they might have 35,000 claims to deal with here or at the Earthquake Commission in New Zealand. So they've got to import loss adjusters from Canada and from England into Australia to help with those claims. So I hope that that's something that they transfer internationally quite freely. Yes, they will have to have an induction. They'll have to have guidance and assistance geographically and vehicles and accommodation and all that sort of thing. But that's how it works. It's perfectly legal for that to happen, people. I hope it never happens. So that's my answer to that question. Yes, they do travel quite frequently between jurisdictions. People, that's it for this week. Good luck with your bid for your tender in South Australia. I urge you, apply for it. You've got the best chance of an investigation agency ever to be part of $1 million income per year for 2 years. It's in the specs for the tender. It's in the tender specs, how much you've got to earn, that sort of thing. And everybody's got to have exactly the same insurance cover for both years. You can't have professional indemnity for this year until it expires because they're legally obligated to, and then cut it out next year and you can't keep going with them with no professional indemnity. And even if you do try and get it from somewhere else, it's going to be very expensive. If you need my contacts, people, you want to become an Australian private investigator, you want to become an Australian loss adjuster, there's my contacts on the screen. get in touch with me. On Friday afternoons after this program, my phone goes mad right through until 5:30. I'm very hard to get on the telephone, but you can get me on the email. So it's an opportunity for you to further your career by studying to be a licensed private investigator and become a surveillance investigator for M&A investigations, or Kerrigans who have advertised for them in Victoria this week, or a factual investigator for SureFact, or Brookside, or M&A investigations, or CSI, or Quantum Corp. They're all looking for investigators. That's really exciting stuff. When I finish my program every week, I go out with my favourite movie. You ever get a chance to watch a great movie, it's really enjoyable, drags a bit towards the end, but these guys sum up the week at every private investigation agency in the world.
팀장을 찾았습니다. 작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
Yes, people, when your week is complete, the investigation agency, all units must return home. I don't know what a unit is, but that must be what. I'll tell you what, that's not how it ends. It's not how the week actually ends at an investigation agency. It's the busiest time of the week, Friday afternoon. But been great having you people. Really enjoyed having you here this week. Congratulations to everyone that won a coffee mug. Send me your physical PM me your physical postal address and I'll send that out to you. Let's not forget our what's going to Okay, James Mack, I'm going to look you up on Who's Know, and I'm going to find out who you are, and I'm going to know your phone number. What a great tip. Enjoy your coffee mugs, people. Thanks for the comment, Jimmy. Very kind of you, mate. And cheers to everybody. See you next week. I hope you enjoyed it. James Mack.